Holly. Hey, get your next Ford from Ward.
Theraldson Ethanol, the ethanol plant located in Castleton, North Dakota, is accepting applications for a process operator. Work 4 days on and 4 days off, night and day swing shifts. Applicant must have a general understanding of process and operating procedures and a willingness to learn procedures for the ethanol industry. Theraldson Ethanol offers on-the-job training and an excellent benefits program. Email your resume to hr@theraldsonethanol.com or apply in person at 3549 153rd Avenue Southeast in Castleton.
For decades, Nodak Insurance Company has been serving our state's residents in good times and challenging times. We come together for the greater good, from simple acts of kindness to company-wide efforts that make a difference in our community. It's who we are, rooted in North Dakota and ready to serve when it matters most. Nodak Insurance Company, agents with answers.
The Right Choice program is a program that's designed to utilize multiple varieties, whether it be varieties of corn or soybeans or sunflowers.
It's a great way for our customers to look into our lineup a little bit deeper. It gives them a chance to see a couple products maybe they wouldn't, and it's really something that everybody should be doing.
You should plant multiple varieties every year anyway, and you get something back for it.
God, who doesn't like free stuff, right?
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Hear from the head coach every Monday night. Head coach Matt Entz stops by with us for the Bison Football Radio Show every Monday night starting at 6:30.
Continue to keep practicing as hard as we can, continue to emphasize fundamentals and techniques, making it our priority.
Hear a breakdown of the previous game and look ahead to the next opponent for the Herd. The Bison Football Radio Show is brought to you by Nodak Insurance. Nodak has the agents with answers. The Bison Football Radio Show with Matt Entz every Monday night, 6:30 to 8, right here on Bison 1660.
This Thanksgiving, there's so much to be thankful for.
Health,
family,
friends,
and most of all, a roof over our head. Hi, it's Matt Lehman and Mike Walski from Fargo Roofing and Siding, wishing you and your family a season of thanks.
We want to thank all of the families and businesses we were able to help out this year. Whether it was insurance-related repairs, remodeling, or new construction projects, our team was ready to help. Now we look forward to working with you. Schedule a free estimate today by visiting FargoRoofing.com.
Fargo Roofing and Siding.
Truck headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Buckforce!
And here's what you need to know.
University of Virginia linebacker Deshaun Perry and wide receivers Lavelle Davis Jr. and Devin Chandler were killed last night in a shooting on campus. Police have detained the suspect, former UVA football player Chris Jones Jr. The school has canceled its basketball game tonight against Northern Iowa. Panthers quarterback Baker Mayfield will start this week against the Ravens, with Sam Darnold checking in as the backup. Carolina's previous QB1 P.J. Walker suffered a high ankle sprain this past week. NFL Network notes the Commanders are not bringing pass rusher Chase Young off injured reserve for tonight's game against the Eagles. Young, who's coming off an ACL tear, is more likely to return next week. Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy is having an MRI done on his ankle today. Early indications are that he strained a muscle behind his ankle, but the team will undergo more tests with him to see what's really going on. I'm Brian Fenley.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by ProSeed. Need seed? Think ProSeed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, Here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
It's getting saucy. High formation here. Miller under center. Fakes the handoff to Johnson. 6-step drop back. Packs over left side. Wide open. Johnson 5. Touchdown. 27-yard strike. NDSU takes the early lead. Baker stands in the gun, back to his right, looking to pass, drops back 4 steps at the 24, throws over left side, this one up, bobbled, intercepted here by the Bison. It is Dawson Weber, and Weber has it around the 45-yard line. How about that, the first interception? 3rd and 4 from the 5 on that right side. Cam Miller keeping it here, finding a gap, spinning around. Touchdown, Cam Miller, NDSU for 6. It's getting saucy. Here's Baker stepping back, pressure in his face. He's trying to go down. He's slammed down for a sack, baby. At the bottom there, Javier Darrett said, "Did you hear it?" Threw him down. Dropped him back there on another Northern bag-and-box quarterback sack.
What could I do? And I knew there was no help from you.
Here's Baker, drops back again 2 yards. Pressure coming from behind him this time. Eludes one. Now he goes down on a sack by Spencer Wagee. Wagee, as always, placing the bet, drops him down for a Northern bag-and-box quarterback sack. Here we go, 1st and goal from the 3. Miller, handoff to Merrick, and he's got the touchdown. 3 yards, skedaddle in as he leapt forward, flipped over, and the Bison adding some insurance much needed to their policy here in the 4th quarter.
What a win for the Herd on Saturday. Welcome on in. It is the Insiders on a Monday morning meat sandwich of overreaction. And boy, do we have some things to overreact to, maybe just react to, and a whole lot to get to for sure on this Monday. Welcome on in. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp here with you, Micah Bindi as well. The crew is all here ready for this one. And I forgot what Rob Hipp looked like because this is his first time on the show in like a week and a half, it seems like. How you doing, my friend, after 4 games in a week?
Man, is it okay to be here? You know, it feels kind of weird.
You're allowed to be on the show, actually.
This seat's a little bit warm. I appreciate the guys keeping it warm. But, yeah, good to be back, man. Just, when you're gone for a week, Andy, everything kind of slows down and you have to reset. You get out of a routine. You have to form a new road routine. So now it's back into the regular routine.
How does it feel to sleep in your own bed again?
Dude, that felt great, man. I'm not going to lie, man. That thing felt great last night because we got one of those beds that, like, raises up. The foot and the header and the footer raises up. It's got a little massager on it. I cranked that thing on.
Fancy.
Passed out last night and finally got a little bit of rest.
The way your eyes lit up when Micah said, "How did it feel to sleep in your own bed?" You turned to me and were like, "Oh, my gosh, that was the best thing ever."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to have you back here, though. And good to have you back in Fargo, back on the show. Fun show for you over the next couple of hours. Clearly, a lot of things to get to. We will try and hit on all of them, but we only got a couple of hours. Micah, just throw that hard out at the end of the show out already because we're probably going to go a little bit long. There's a lot to get to, and that's how you want it to be on a Monday when you got overreaction happening.
It is a full meat sandwich Monday of overreaction. I think it's going to be proper reaction from the purple Kool-Aid drinkers today.
This is one of those meat sandwich Mondays where you got like a little pepperoni, ham, turkey, capicola, roast beef, everything. Every meat you can think of, sausage, everything is on the sandwich this week. It's one of those meat heart attack sandwiches.
I'm sitting here thinking, man, my stomach's starting to like twist when you're mentioning all of this. But it's good. It's good meat.
Salami, everything you can throw on a
pastrami.
Meat pastrami, everything. All the cold cuts are on this one. As the Bison get a win, the Vikings get a win, and Christian Watson gets 3 touchdowns in a game. What could be better than that for a weekend football-wise? Obviously, we'll touch on all that stuff. We will get to it during the show. We want you to be a part of the show as well here on a Monday. 701-476-1660, the number to text us or call us at. Again, 701-476-1660, the Epic Companies hotline. You can also email the show. The Rick Electric email inbox is open for you to start the week. That is studio@bison1660.com. Is our stream up and operational, Mr. Mike Abindi?
Of course it is.
There it is.
Monday's not going to tear me down on the stream side.
You can also comment on our Facebook page, Bison1660, on the stream that Mike has got up and running via the Horse Cam. Hello, everybody out there watching on the Horse Cam. Horse Farming with Passion, online at horse.com. You can watch every show there on our Facebook page, Bison1660. Okay. This is the show for you. It's not just, a lot to react to. It's also a packed show. We got to be moving in a groove and got to be kind of loose and loosey-goosey on a Monday as well and stay on task because we do have a lot to get to. Obviously, at 11:30, we're going to have Phil Hansen, the Hall of Famer, will be on. We'll get his reaction from the Bison's win against Southern Illinois. I think a very quality win. I expected some people to be throwing a few negatives out there of, you didn't win by enough. Man, you just get a win on the road in conference against a good team that's absolutely desperate for a win. You go there and you beat them. That's all I cared about. You got the win against Southern. You move on from that one, and now you have the Harvest Bowl and the regular season finale and Senior Day against that school from up the road that we won't mention too much by name this week. But since it is Hate Week, a.k.a. Rivalry Week for NDSU and that school up the road. But looking forward to it. That was a really good win. So Phil Hansen joins us at 11:30. Get his reaction from it. We'll get your reaction here in just a little bit, Rob. At noon, because the Vikings just beat the Bills in Buffalo when they trailed by 17, and I'm pretty sure they lost the game 5 times and won the game 5 times, all in one game. Jeff Wald, Fox 9, down in the cities, will give us his reaction. He was watching that game along with all of us. What did he think of Justin Jefferson's catch? Is that the greatest regular season catch in the history of the NFL? I think it's up there for it. I think it's the second greatest play in Vikings history, in my opinion, from my lifetime. And just incredible play by Justin Jefferson, right up there with the Minneapolis Miracle. So get Jeff Wald's thoughts on that. The Vikings with the not safety, the touchdown by the defense on the goal line when you thought they lost the game. Kirk Cousins making some plays. Patrick Peterson picking the ball off twice. The defense only giving up 6 points in the second half and scoring 6 points themselves in the second half. So overall, really good game, obviously, for them. They're 8-1. I tried to tell you, Rob, they're going to be 16-1 at the start of the season. You didn't believe me, but here we are, halfway to it at 8-1.
Hashtag 16-1. Here we come.
Here we come. Plus, Washington's going to beat Philly tonight, right? I can believe that.
I don't believe that much in Taylor Heineke.
Okay, well, maybe not. But, the Vikings 8-1, absolutely rolling. So Jeff Wald, Fox 9 sports director down there, will give us some time to go over the Minnesota Vikings. And how hyped should you be? How excited should you start getting knowing the Vikings history? I think that's important as well. And then at 12:30, because it's basketball season, I'm wanting to do this every Monday, hopefully. Big Dexter Werner will join us to go over what was a disappointing first week for NDSU men's basketball. There's no other way to put it. 0-3, a loss yesterday at home to Pacific in a game where they gave up way too many points. I know that's going to be the area of emphasis for Dave Richmond. You just can't give up that many points at home against a team like Pacific. Unfortunately, that's the way it went. So get Dex's reaction at 12:30. Oh, it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be packed. Before we get to the phone lines, I see some people giving us a call right now. Your thoughts, Saturday at first. We'll start there with football. Saturday, Bison get the win on the road. Southern Illinois had the bye week before. They were a team that was ranked in the top 10 at the start of the season, so clearly a talented team. They have to win that game to get into the playoffs. And again, the bye week before, but the Bison still go in there and get a victory. Your thoughts on that one, Rob Hipp?
I think it's just another game of battling through adversity. SIU goes up 10-7 at one point, and the Bison found a way. Despite penalties, we saw them. You guys saw them. You heard them. Mm-hmm. There was penalties in that ball game, some ill-advised things by the Bison, but they worked through it. And so I think at the end of the day, the win is the win. That's how you define games. I know everybody wants to say, hey, we should have blown them out every game because that's what we're used to, but this is a really good Southern Illinois team. We've mentioned it all last week and prior. I know you guys talked about it. I mean, look, every game that they've lost, the last 4 now have came down to the wire. It's been very close ball games. They came off the bye week, and SIU's backs were against the wall. They needed this victory, and the Bison found a way to hang in there, hang tough. James Kaiser had tied a career day with 14 tackles by him. Just got named the Missouri Valley Football Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Had a huge opportunity there at the end, did Kaiser. with the onside kick, able to hold on to that. That was a big play. So it's all those things that add up. And, hey, the Bison are victorious. Now it's Harvest Bowl coming up. I'm excited for that atmosphere. But you just got to continue to work through it. I think one of the things that Phil's talked about, and I'll kind of echo that, is I still think the team's got to find a way to do a better job at tackling. There were some missed opportunities there where guys weren't wrapping up. And again, just finding those early holes on the rushing side for SIU, they were able to break through. So you got to continue to just find a way to tackle, Andy. And then I think, and look, I'm not a coach and I'm not criticizing those guys because I never do that, but I think that there's some plays now that are predictable that people say, okay, they're probably going to do that, and they do that. And so we'll see how things wrap up at the end of the year coming up on the regular season with UND.
Of course, we will have the press conference from Coach Entz, game week press conference with NDSU and that school up the road this week. So that will be at 2 o'clock today. You can listen to that right here on Bison 1660. Definitely some things to go over from the last game, some things to look forward to for this week as well. And unfortunately, that's probably the worst part about the win is you get the win, but at what cost? You have a couple of key injuries there in Mason Miller and Hunter Lipke. I'm sure we'll get an update on both of them, I would think, from Coach Entz in that press conference again at 2 o'clock today. You can listen to that right here on Bison 1660, brought to you by Bonanza Egg. And then tonight we will have the Bison Football Radio Show with Rob Hipp and the head coach Matt Entz, 6:30 to 8. You can listen to that again right here on Bison 1660 for the Bison Football Radio Show. And that will be plenty of conversation, I would think, about all of that stuff as well on the show tonight. That brought to you by NODAC Insurance Company. By the way, NDSU women's basketball tonight on 94.5 FM The City. 94.5 FM The City for Bison women's basketball tonight as they have their home opener against Valley City State. And they take that game, starts at 6:30 for pregame and tip-off at 7 o'clock from the Shack. You can listen to that again on 94.5 FM The City with yours truly on the call of that one, looking for the Bison to get to 2-0 on the season. So there's a little scheduling update for you as well. Let's jump over to the Epic Companies hotline. Jim in Fargo giving us a call. Jim, how you doing on this Meat Sandwich Monday?
Well, pretty good. Welcome back, Rob. I saw you on Sunday. It was pretty disappointing loss, basketball game, but the Vikings made my day. They should have lost that game 3 times. And it was just crazy weekend for everything.
Sure was. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I thought the Vikings lost that game at least 3 times. I thought they lost it when they were on 17 points. You know, the Bills, I think there was something at home. They hadn't lost a game in like 50 years when they had been up by 17 points at home in the fourth quarter. Vikings did that. 81-yard touchdown run by Dalvin Cook gets you back into it. That's a huge play, quick score. You needed that, and then the defense making plays. And, yeah, I thought they lost it when they were on 17 points. I thought they lost it when Kirk Cousins, when it was 4th and 18. I thought this game's over. They're not going to get this. And then Justin Jefferson makes the catch. I thought they lost it when Kirk Cousins didn't get in from the 1 centimeter line somehow. I don't know how he doesn't get in there, but get into the end zone. At first, I kind of thought, like, okay, yeah, don't get in. Waste more time. That's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. And then they got to the point of like, okay, you should probably get in the end zone. You should probably score. And then they didn't. So I thought they lost it there. And then I thought they lost it when Greg Joseph misses an extra point. I thought that was going to be the coffin, or the nail in the coffin. Ended up not being that way. But the odd thing about Greg Joseph missing the extra point that would have put them up 4 at the end, you know, obviously the Bills kick a field goal because they're only down 3. They kick the field goal with 5 seconds left from like the 10-yard line, and it ties it up at 3. Well, Vikings fans are saying, well, if we don't miss the extra point, we're up 4. Yeah, but then they don't kick the field goal. The Bills go for it instead of kicking a field goal. Then maybe they score a touchdown and win. So Greg Joseph missing the extra point might have actually helped you win the game, oddly enough.
I was watching that in the Fox studio, producing the men's basketball game, so a little multitask. But anyways, when I watched it, I thought they might do it. I was like, I don't know if they want to go to overtime against the Vikings. They want to get out of this game. So I thought for a split second that Sean McDermott maybe thought about going for it, but I think he made the right choice. Obviously, you want to tie it and go to overtime.
7 seconds left. You take one shot at the end zone, but 5 seconds is just it's too risky. So that was the right play to kick a field goal there. And clearly, there was a couple of decisions as well. The Vikings went for it on 4th down when they could have kicked the field goal early in the game. The Bills went for it on 4th down when they could have kicked the field goal. And yeah, in hindsight, it changes the outcome of the game a little bit. But I thought they were both the right calls in the moment. But just a phenomenal game. I know you didn't get to see it, Rob, because you were calling men's basketball, but just a back-and-forth affair, and one of the greatest games of the year and one of the greatest games in Vikings' recent history in the regular season.
Yeah, one of the greatest catches, in the millennia
Yeah.
now for Justin Jefferson. I was talking about
Pay that
Odell
man.
Beckham Jr., earlier, his big catch there with the Giants. And then Odell Beckham even tweeted out, "Oh, Lord."
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. I got to ask you, though, Andy, as you're watching that game, it goes to overtime. Did you think at that point, okay, the Vikings, even though the Bills had that momentum right there going into overtime, what was going through your mind? Did you feel like, we're going to lose this, or were you all in?
I felt like the team that won the coin toss was going to win the game because they were both pretty dead tired. And so when the Vikings won the coin toss, I feel really good. I feel like we're going to have a chance here. They should have scored a touchdown and ended it. The thing is, and I've heard people, Dan Byers, one of them, good friend, been on the show before, listened to him on Fox Sports Sunday. But I've heard some people already, and going into the game, what's the storyline here? Oh, the Vikings haven't beaten anybody, right? They haven't. This is their only test. They haven't beaten anybody good yet. The only good team they beat was the Dolphins, and that's because Tua wasn't in. This is the only good team they're going to face, and Josh Allen's in there, and all that stuff. Props to Micah, by the way, for predicting Josh Allen was going to play. I didn't think he was going to. You guessed that perfectly, and he was actually looked phenomenal. Didn't look hurt at all. So props to you on that. But the storyline was the Vikings hadn't beaten anybody. So when you win the game, you're thinking, okay, going to get some respect finally. There's still people out there that says, oh, the Vikings got all the breaks, and look at all the things the Vikings needed to go their way to win this game. They needed to get a fumble on a snap at the goal line. They needed to get multiple interceptions, all those lucky breaks. No other team, if they get interceptions, you're like, oh, that's a lucky break. No, that's a good play. You made a play. You forced Josh Allen into a mistake. But the Vikings get interceptions, and everyone nationally is like, oh, that's a lucky break for the Vikings, unfortunately. Look at them getting all the breaks they're late to come back, all the things that needed to go their way. Honestly, the Vikings kind of got the short straw, the shaft a little bit in this game. The Gabe Davis catch at the end of regulation was not a catch. He clearly drops the ball, wasn't reviewed, didn't go to review. That's a play in the last 2 minutes of the game. Everything's supposed to be reviewed.
Thanks,
you're not
NFL.
allowed. You're
NFL
not
New
allowed to
York.
throw a challenge play. New York doesn't do anything there. It wasn't a catch. They don't review it. That was a 30-yard catch. And that would have decided the game. The Bills would not have kicked the field goal at the end of regulation. They wouldn't have been in field goal range, more than likely. That's a massive play that goes completely against the Vikings. And then also, in overtime, they're driving down. They're on the 3-yard line. And Dalvin Cook gets tackled on 1st and goal for a 4-yard loss. Well, I go back to the tape. There was 12 men on the field for Buffalo. Twice. Somehow the referees miss all of that stuff, and it completely screws the Vikings out of multiple opportunities to win that game, but they still win it. So, I mean, if I'm out there and I was someone that said, oh, I don't believe in the Vikings, I don't know how you can't believe in them now. Oh, yeah, they just won another close game. Yeah, they keep winning close games. They keep doing it. It doesn't matter if they're all close games. Well, eventually it's going to turn. Well, maybe not. They keep winning them at this point, and they've got confidence. I love what they talked about after the game, all the players and the coaches in the press conference. It was all, you know what, we just believed we were going to win because we had won all these other close games. That's exactly what I talked about. Were they getting lucky in these games early on? Yeah, double doinks and this kind of stuff. Yeah, but when that happens, you just believe you're going to make it happen. And just believing in it, that goes a long ways for your team. When you don't score on the goal line with Kirk Cousins, your defense believes we're going to get a safety. Instead of getting a safety, you end up getting a touchdown because of a fumbled snap, but you just believe we're going to make plays to get this ball back. We have a chance here.
I think the confidence factor is really what's building now. And
Yeah.
you almost think as a fan, you step back now, Andy, and you say, yeah, of course you want to see your team up by 4 or 5 scores, but now it's almost with the Vikings, you want it to be close because you know they got the confidence and they're going to find a way to pull out. And you have to make the plays. I mean, it's football talk, but you have to make the plays. Look, I'm a believer sometimes in lucky breaks, maybe 1 or 2, okay? But when you have a game where there's 5, 6, 7 things that are happening, you're creating those plays to make those things happen. It's not just the other team's fault that they're continuing to dwindle and the world is against them and everything's crashing down. That's not it. The Vikings are finding ways in close games to take care of business.
The botched snap at the goal line, is that a little lucky? Yeah, a little lucky. You don't really do much to cause that. That's just a break that goes your way. But all the other things, those were things. Interceptions, that's caused by the defense. The defense doing a really good job. By the way, Kirk Cousins threw an interception right to Buffalo. I mean, he literally thought the Buffalo cornerback was Justin Jefferson because there was no other receiver there. He threw it there and had a mind fart, whatever you want to call it. Completely blanked out there for a little bit and threw it directly to a player for Buffalo. But, that's not a lucky break for Buffalo. That's just Buffalo causing havoc and making Kirk think something that he shouldn't have thought. But
I don't know if you can say that the muffed snap at the goal line by Josh Allen was lucky. Well, maybe it's he buckled under the pressure and the Vikings didn't. How about that?
Yeah.
The Vikings are
Eric
winning
Kendricks
close
was
games.
right there. Found the football, recovered it. Like,
We're numb.
Make the plays.
We're numb to the pressure, and the Bills aren't. The Bills need blowout games in order to feel comfortable. The Vikings feel comfortable in close games.
And the Bills have only scored one touchdown. Actually, have not scored a touchdown in the second half since week 3 against the Chiefs.
Well,
second half. I mean, their offense, they're I think, third in their division right now. Look up the division standings. They're third in their own division right now. But the Jets and the Dolphins are both ahead of them now because of the head-to-head that those two teams have on Buffalo.
Maybe we're overrating the Bills a little bit, and everyone's underrating the Vikings.
That's the thing. Now the Bills aren't good, so it's not a good win.
That's what I was about to say. Because
it's
of
no
that,
longer a good win. So.
They're just gonna say, "Oh, they're falling. They've already peaked. They're going downhill. They're just not a good team. It's another bad team."
Yeah, Vikings just beat another okay average team. It's not even that good of a team. That's exactly what it's going to be. And look at that storyline coming this way. But hey, I talk all the time about 16-1, right? Everyone circled that as a loss at Buffalo. I even was like, yeah, that's going to be a loss. Oh well. A close circuit to Tyson Willis out there. I know you're listening, Tyson. Zach Willis as well. If he's not listening, you can send this to you can send this to Tyson as well, Zach. Buffalo just got beat by the Vikings. Take that, Skol baby. Kirko. Although Kirko wasn't seen on the plane, we didn't have a Kirko appearance on the plane. It was all Patrick Peterson with the chains this time.
You like that? You like that?
Love it. Also, the Fargo bubble is real, Tyson. Take that as well. It happened during the winter storm again.
What if the Vikings are trolling us? They're like, everyone wants another Kirko video, and they're like, we're not going to do it this time. We're going to make you beg for these videos.
Kirk said in the post-game press conference, like, I think it peaked last week. That's as much as we can do. Someone else is going to have to take the reins on that one. So I think he's done. But I wanted Kirk with a grill. I wanted a tattoo artist on the plane, literally giving him a tat of Kirko on his chest on the plane right there. That's what I wanted after that victory because I was super hyped. That is a massive win. It keeps you right in the running for the number 1 seed. And the Packers got a little mojo now because they just beat the Cowboys. You got to make sure you're staying away from them. Don't let them get back into arm's reach where they feel like they can win the division. You got to keep that thing at 3 to 4 games, and that's exactly what they did. That's huge.
Yeah, man. It's as a Cowboys fan, I'm watching that game. I did get to watch a little bit of that game last night and watch the end of it. But I was sitting there thinking, because of Christian Watson and only because of him, I didn't really feel bad about that loss. Now, if it was before me being up here in Fargo and being involved with NDSU, I would have been livid after that game. I was so happy for Christian Watson. What an amazing performance. And they keep talking about, even the media during the game, they were, after the touchdowns, they were playing that, 74-yard drop to open the season. I'm like, quit playing that. The dude's over. He's already put a bow on it and wrapped it up. 3 touchdowns. How about that for Watson? And a little bit of the backflip action there going on. Unbelievable performance by the rookie. I'm so happy for him.
Play a highlight. We got a little Christian Watson in there. I know we got something from him.
On the fake. Rodgers lets it fly, has Watson, he's got it on his feet and he's in for the touchdown!
That might be the biggest catch of this young receiver's career.
It definitely was. And shout out to Christian Watson. Way to go on that one. He's had a little up and down. I told everyone before the season, though. I'm not trying to take credit for it, but I told everyone, just be patient. He's injured during the preseason. It's a big step up from college to the NFL, especially the FCS a little bit to the NFL. You see different athletes, right? Be patient with him. Give him time. Let him develop, especially with Aaron Rodgers, who's always tough on rookies. Historically been extremely tough on him. Just give him a couple of weeks to months of getting into the system. And now at this point, how can Aaron Rodgers not trust Christian Watson going forward? He won them that game by having 3 touchdown receptions. This is the stat line for him. Only 4 receptions, 107 yards and 3 touchdowns. And honestly, he probably should have had a 4th. There was another one that was thrown right there that he kind of lost in the air, slowed up a little bit. If he keeps running full speed, it hits him in the numbers and he gets another touchdown. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers, he threw to him on 4th down, had a touchdown on 4th down when they had to have it. He threw to him on 3rd down a couple of times. Christian Watson absolutely has got to have the trust of Aaron Rodgers now going forward.
Absolutely. When he can run by any defensive back in the NFL, if it's one-on-one, and if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I see that, I'm like, whether it's a go ball or that deep over that they showed on one of his other touchdowns, what DB is going to run with him? You don't know which direction he's going to run, and if Watson has even half a step on you, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone.
If he's even, he's leaving. That's the phrase, right? And it was great to see from him because I know he's had a little up and down. He's had a lot of injuries, which you can't necessarily control, like concussions and different things, hammies and stuff that's just popping up consistently for him. So you feel great for the kid to get a chance to prove it, and that's a moment he will never forget. Not just one, but two, and then counting it out in the end zone, 1, 2, 3. That was phenomenal for him, so really happy for the dude. Like I said all along, like, do I love the Packers? Usually not a group of Vikings fan, but I'm happy for him anytime. And, beating the Cowboys, not necessarily a bad thing. We'll take that as well.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because here's the thing. It wasn't like he did this against a bad team. The Cowboys are a good team.
Yeah.
He did this domination against a
Trevon
good
Diggs,
team.
right?
And very good secondary.
Yeah.
Going up against Diggs. And, man, just unbelievable. I can't believe I can sit here today and say that I'm okay with the Dallas loss like that. But I can. I can be okay with that loss.
You better be okay with it. You're going to get used to it. Going to happen again this next week, my friend. 8-1 coming your way, and you got to go 2 U.S. Bank stadiums.
We got to think about what that bet is going to be between us, Andy.
We got to think about something for sure. The one thing I'm worried about with the Vikings is it has a little bit of the feeling of that NFC title game where you beat the Saints on the Minneapolis Miracle. They needed to travel to Philly, and you couldn't get over the insanity of that win and all the craziness that went. The Minneapolis Miracle was this play that never happens. It's like, okay, you had the Justin Jefferson thing, you had to stop at the goal line, all these things that shouldn't happen in a game that happened. But now you got to get over it and refocus because you do have a good Dallas team and a team that's now coming off of a loss that they want to get a win too because they know they can't afford to lose any more games with the way Philadelphia is playing in their own division. So they got to get over it. It's going to be difficult to do. The fan base won't. And the thing is, they're going to have reporters asking them all week about that game against Buffalo, and how great it was. And you got to just say, we don't care about that. We're focused on Dallas. They got to move off of it because it does have a little bit of a feel. Micah can agree here. It does have a little of the feel of that NFC title game against the Eagles when you couldn't get over beating the Saints.
Yeah, you don't want that mental and emotional letdown where it's like you're on this high and then especially if it's a low-scoring game against Dallas, you don't want them to lose focus. It's like, oh man, we're not really in this game. We're not playing that well. And then you don't want to drop this game at home after a big win like that. You got to keep the momentum going.
Absolutely need to. And it's a good team. They're going to need Christian Darrisaw back, I can tell you that. With Micah Parsons coming in, you better get him back. He had a concussion. That's the other thing. They lose Cam Dantzler before the game on IR. Then the Caleb Evans plays. He gets a concussion. You're on the Andrew Booth and some Duke Shelley guy that nobody's ever heard of making plays at the end at corner. And you lose Christian Darrisaw. Blake Brandel has to step in. And you were fine. You were just fine there at left tackle still for the majority of that game. So very good performance. I will definitely take that from the Minnesota Vikings. 8-1 on the season. Once again, take that, Tyson Willis. Just one more shout out to our friend. Good friend of the program, but take that, Tyson Willis. Vikings got the win. You like that. I like that. Skol, baby. I love seeing the Skol chants at away stadiums. It's also a lot of fun for me personally. We'll take a break, though. We'll come back. A victory Monday for the Bison, for the Vikings, for Christian Watson. A lot of things to talk about. We'll go over that stuff with our good friend, the Hall of Famer, Phil Hansen, when we come back here on a Monday on The Insiders.
A sports talk station that Bison Nation deserves. Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy duty and light duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
Fall is about tradition. Tradition on the field with Bison football and tradition in the cooler with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. When you're enjoying a clean sack or a perfectly timed touchdown pass, let the crisp, cold, clean taste of Bud Light tackle your taste buds. The only bigger crowd pleaser on Saturday is another Bison win. Whether it's in the tailgate zone, a couch gate at home, or inside the Fargo Dome, the Bison Bison go best with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
Need holiday cash fast? Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season. Corwin Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it. Bring in your vehicle to any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant offer and walk away with cash on the spot. There has never been a better time to sell your vehicle and get top dollar for it. So let Corwin Auto help stuff your stocking this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
November is Diabetic Eye Disease Awareness Month at Eyes on Broadway and Rexine Family Eye Care. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Rexine, your downtown eye doc. Did you know those with diabetes are at higher risk for eye disease? Reduce your risk by maintaining a healthy weight and diet, staying physically active, refraining from smoking, and getting your annual eye exams.
Set up an appointment with Dr. Michael Rexine or myself, Dr. Vanessa Manlove, at michaelrexine.com, with locations in both Fargo and Mayville.
I promise you will see the difference.
30 years and counting. CI Apparel, #1 in corporate, collegiate, and high school apparel. We've partnered with college bookstores and high schools to retailers to bring you high-quality game day apparel. Whether for work or play, every day is game day at CI Apparel with brands you love. Nike, Ogio, Under Armour, and the CI Sport brand. With competitive pricing and fast turnaround times, we help you work harder, play harder, and cheer harder in style. CI Apparel, 2121 43rd Street South in Fargo, and CIapparel.com.
You may not have heard, but the Insiders is now under new management.
Did you see the memo about this?
Here's Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
And I'll go ahead and make sure you get another copy of that memo. Okay?
On Bison 1660.
Welcome back into the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol producing 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. You can fuel your future and join their growing team right now at theraldsonethanol.com. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp here with you on a Meat Sandwich Monday of Overreaction as the Minnesota Vikings get a win over the Buffalo Bills. The NDSU Bison get a win on the road against a very talented Southern Illinois squad as well. And now get ready for the regular season finale. Harvest Bowl, Senior Day, regular season finale against North Dakota, the Fighting Hawks, coming into the Fargo Dome this Saturday. 2:30 kickoff, 1:30 pregame on the Pioneer Farm Seed Bison Radio Network with Rob Hipp, Cole Jurek, and the Hall of Famer Phil Hansen, who's nice enough to give us some time right now on the Epic Companies hotline. Phil, great to have you back on with us, sir. Appreciate the time once again. Is it hard to think we're already at the regular season finale week?
You know, I have to kind of go back to your little introduction there. I noticed how that Vikings win against the Bills just rolled right off your tongue. That felt really... sounded like it felt really good to you.
It felt really good, Phil. It felt really, really good. That was a heck of a game, but it felt really good for me, yes.
Boy, I hope the fans that have heart problems are still doing okay in Buffalo and Minnesota for that matter. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, Minnesota Vikings fans are getting too hyped. I can tell you something's going to happen. But me and Jeff Colhane were exchanging texts because we're both very excited right now.
Yeah, no, it was a heck of a game. I really thought the Bills would have it after... I just thought, the Jets game the week before, and now they have to really be asking themselves if they're for real or not, but still got a lot of good parts, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Regular season finale this week against UND, but let's focus on the game that the Bison just won. You know, I said going into the week, Phil, just get a win. I don't really care how you necessarily get it, because Southern Illinois is a team coming off of a bye. They have to win these games to get to the playoffs, so they're going to throw everything they can at you. And they were a team that was ranked in the top 10 at the start of the season. So clearly at least a talented squad. Haven't put it all together, but a talented squad. So the Bison go in there. They're trailing in the second half at one point, but they come up with 2 huge drives on offense, and they get the win. I'm pretty happy with that outcome.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty sluggish start for Southern Illinois. I think they were kind of still on their bye week. But, the Bison did what they had to do. I really – it was really hard for me to look at the stats each quarter and grasp what was going on. I mean, Southern Illinois had the ball for 11 minutes the first quarter, and they kept moving the ball, but they didn't score. There's that bend but don't break thing for the Bison, and just a very strange game. Usually stats pretty much show what the score is and who's winning, but that game it was just I don't know what to do with that game. But the Bison won. And in another day or two, nobody's going to care. It's just going to care about that it was a win.
Phil, I know there's a lot of things the team still needs to work on. Tackling has been one of those things that you've brought up and we've talked about quite a bit. But, on a positive note, I wanted to highlight Marquise Siegel. He had that pick six just a week ago, and then you go back and had a pass breakup in this game. Just what are you seeing from him, and have you been impressed with his play as of late?
Yeah, I mean, those defensive backs, they're a good bunch. Speaking of tackling, Michael Tutsi came up and made some they weren't jaw-dropping hits or anything, but God dang it, the hair stood up on the back of my neck because he went up and he tackled the guy right around the legs, and the guy's on the ground, and he needed to make the tackle, or it was another 6 or 8 yards. But those defensive backs, they're all very mature. They've seen things before. Not much surprises them, and they're going to have to be at their best this week too. But it's a good group. Siegel's just one of a bunch back there that does a very nice job.
Yeah, defensively, really been playing extremely well. James Kaiser named Defensive Player of the Week in the Valley. I've been impressed by his play. Obviously been impressed by his play for a number of years now. What do you see in Kaiser's play and that linebacker group as a whole, Phil? I think since the bye week, when you've gotten some guys healthier, seen the insertion of Logan Kopp and Cole Wisniewski a little bit more, that linebacker unit has seemed to be playing a lot better.
Kaiser should be a strong safety. He's got the body of a strong safety. He's not a big linebacker, big bruising linebacker type, but he's the best we got, and he fits. He needs to be on the field somewhere. I would have loved to see him at strong safety his whole career, but the defensive back were such that there was more talent back there. Kaiser could play the linebacker, but I just think it's a lot of expended energy on his body, on his little frame there. But yes, he knows what he's doing. He's always in the right spot, and he puts his head there and makes a play. And the other linebackers come along too. Kopp, I think he should be on the field more. I'd like to see more what he can do. Special teams, he's down there blowing things up or making tackles or making plays. I think he's earned more time than he's seeing right now, but I guess that's a coaching decision.
Phil, we'll kind of flip the script, and I wanted to mention a little bit of offense real quick. Kobe Johnson had another good game. Just a week ago, had that 47-yard in on a run and then got a pass to get things going for a touchdown. What have you seen from his play, and do you like how he's starting to really find a groove here over the last few games?
Yeah, well, with another injury, it looks like in the running back core, it looks like he's going to have to be counted on more. He's been steady. He's been really good the whole year when he's been healthy, and he's going to be counted on more. I thought Cam Miller quarterback play too. We just kind of gloss over that because we expect a certain standard from Cam Miller, but Cam's been really, really good. And I just noticed in this game some of the things he did. He had to scramble a little bit. There's a little pressure, and ran up to the line, and then he ran parallel. He knew exactly where the first down line was, trying to create more time to find an open receiver. I really think we got to. I know he's a quarterback and gets all the attention, but I think we really got to sing his praises because, that just doesn't happen naturally or come naturally. You got to work at that, and he's really come of age as a quarterback, in my opinion.
And there were a couple of plays. I'm glad you brought that up, Phil. Again, Phil Hansen with us. In that second half, late when the Bison were down 10-7, I think there was a 3rd and 12. You complete a pass to Zach Mathis for a first down. Another 3rd and about 5 or 6. You complete a pass to Jake Lippy. And they're able to get those plays through the passing game where, we're used to NDSU having to run the football, but they were in some 3rd and longs, and Cam Miller went back there with a group of receivers that we've kind of questioned all year long, but they're making the plays, and Zach Mathis making another big play on 3rd down.
Zach Mathis, that happened right on the sideline, right in front of the press box, right on the yard line. I was looking. Zach Mathis wasn't open, but he was going up against a diminutive defensive back. That ball was just thrown up for him to catch, and he had to go up, and he was taller. That's why he came down that ball, not because he wasn't covered. But once again, a great play. Once again, Cam Miller sees the disparity out there, so he throws the ball, throws it high, where only his receiver can get it. That's taking away the chance or the risk of an interception. So, and both those plays were critical plays in the game. You had to have it to extend the drive, and at that point in the game, they were very vital plays, and that's why I hesitate to sing someone's praises because it's like the disappointment the next week. I don't want Cam Miller to disappoint me, but he's been so steady all year. He's been just a just like the offensive line has been really steady. So it's something you can depend on week in and week out.
We've also talked about penalties quite a bit for NDSU. I know I think there were 6 of them in there, but they're only of the 5-yard variety. Is it kind of strange to say that a penalty was a massive game changer, a momentum-changing moment, but it kind of seemed like it was off that kickoff when Southern Illinois takes a 10-7 lead. The ensuing kickoff, they get a 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct and a 15-yarder for targeting as well. 30-yard penalty set up great field position for NDSU. That kind of seemed like a little bit of a momentum shifter there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was. I mean, you have the ball at the 15-yard line as opposed to the 40-yard line. I mean, that makes a pretty big difference in field position. So that helped the Bison on that play. Yeah, I mean, you never want to say penalties are okay, but I always think like aggressive penalties, not aggressive and unsportsmanlike, but aggressive penalties where you're just really working hard. You got to be careful about condemning them too much. But in big games where they really do matter, all penalties are bad. But the penalties didn't hurt us in this game, and actually they helped us, meaning the opponent's penalties helped us more than they hurt us in this game. Yeah, so I didn't think penalties were a big deal in this game. I mean, we had Babbitt stepped out of bounds one time, came back in. That was a penalty for, what they call it, illegal touching or something like that. That's just unfortunate. He was on the sideline, but the other ones were couple offside. I think Spencer Wagey had a couple. And even that as a defensive lineman, as a former defensive lineman, you don't want to, obviously the first thing to say when the defensive lineman jumps off sides is, don't jump off sides. Well, you want to anticipate. You want to be on that edge of jumping off sides. You want to make the official wonder if you jumped off sides, whether you should reach for that flag or not. You don't want them to sit there a millisecond or a half a second after the ball snapped, because getting a jump is sometimes very, very crucial. But, on a third down and less than 5, you don't want to jump off sides as a defensive lineman, because you don't want to give them an automatic first down. You want to make them have to earn it.
Phil, just final thought for me or question for me as this season has went so fast. Andy opened up with you talking about just how quick. I can't believe that we're already here to the regular season finale, hosting UND. That's always a great matchup, and the Harvest Bowl going to be a great rivalry game. What has stood out to you this season, whether it be good or even on the negative side, Phil? What has really stood out to you this season that may be a lot different than what you've seen in past seasons as you've been covering this program for a very long time?
We've always been a good running team, but when we had to pass, we were able to pass. I think this year we're just even more of a dominant running team. It scares me to think the day we can't run the ball because someone matches our offensive line and running backs, and then we have to pass the ball. I think Cam, he creates time. He throws the receivers. I think he throws them open sometimes. But that's the thing that scares me a little bit. The defensive front is getting better, but I didn't think there was midway through the season or so. I didn't think we were very strong against the run. I think it's much better now against the run. I think Cole Wisniewski coming back. I think some linebackers, Kubitz, Wirtz, all coming of age, splitting reps. I think they're getting better. I think our support, they call it the fit. I think our support is better. Tutsi recognizes our defensive backs are really good. They recognize things. They're up. They're supporting the run. Not only supporting it, they're supporting it where it needs to be supported, like on the line of scrimmage, or when they climb to the second level. Second level is like linebackers. I mean, they're up there. The guy isn't through the second level, and then you're filling the gap, because then he can cut left, cut right, go anywhere. So that run support and that fit that they talk about all the time is coming of age. It's better. It's been consistently more better as the season has progressed.
Last question for you, Phil. You kind of alluded to it. I know Hunter Lipke got banged up there in that game, didn't play basically in the second half, had his arm in a sling. We don't want to try and predict what that injury could be or what the length of it could be. I'm sure we'll find out more today when Matt Entz has his press conference. But if you miss Hunter Lipke for any extended period of time, I know there's a bunch of running backs, but he's a pretty special player. What do you think that does for the offense?
Yeah, he's unique. He's special. They always say that next man up, and I mean, you don't really have a choice. I mean, you don't go to the portal and get somebody coming in. I mean, you got to go with what you got. And you know what? We got really good stuff after Hunter Lipke. So it's just some guys that are going to be needing to take more reps, more fullbacks, tight ends. running backs are going to have to fill in if he is unable to play. So, I mean, it happens to every team, happens every year. So you're going to have to find somebody who can step up and be that guy, or collectively as a group, be that group that can compete and score if it's the running backs, or just be productive.
Phil, always appreciate it. Great to have your insight once again. Thanks for being on the call with us. Thanks for coming on the show with us as well. Talk with you again on Saturday.
Yep. See you then. Bye, guys.
Here he is, Phil Hansen, each and every Monday with us, giving us his thoughts as the Bison get a win 21-18 over Southern Illinois. Our conversations with Phil every Monday brought to you by CI Sport, 30 years and counting. CI Apparel, #1 in corporate, collegiate, and high school apparel. Whether it's for work or play, every day is game day at CI Apparel. CI Apparel offers competitive pricing and fast turnaround times so you can work harder and play harder and cheer harder in style. Online at ciapparel.com. And this hour of The Insiders brought to you by Rick Electric. When you need electrical work, you need Rick Electric. For over 56 years, Rick Electric has been providing excellent electrical services for homes and businesses. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. We'll take a break, come back, wrap up hour number 1 on an Overreaction Monday next.
The most complete Bison coverage in the region. Your Bison Nation station, Bison 1660.
When you're making decisions about your ag operation finances, you need access to the experts. This is Scott Solandic with Cornerstone Bank. Whether you're just starting your operation or looking to grow, we're here to talk you through those financial decisions. We're the kind of people who get to know you and genuinely appreciate your needs. If you're looking for a bank that's been specializing in ag banking for generations, come see us at Cornerstone Bank.
Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Rice Companies understands that strong buildings and strong communities start with strong connections. They know the importance of every bolt, every beam, and every handshake. Every connection must be strong. When you work with Rice Companies, you're building on more than concrete and steel. You're building on knowledge and expertise with people you can trust. People who value your investment as much as you do. Connect with Rice Companies, your local Butler builder, and experience the difference strong connections can make for your business. Learn more and see career opportunities at ricecompanies.com.
No one wants to think about it, but winter is here. Make sure your vehicle is ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years.
When it's time to find a realtor, word of mouth is important, and Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a name Bison Nation says often. Todd has helped everyone from coaches and administrators to broadcasters and former players and their families buy homes in the FM area. So many in Bison Nation trust Todd to buy and sell their homes, and you can too. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Today, more of the same from over the weekend. A slight chance of some snow, around 20% chance of that, and a high in the mid to upper 20s. Tonight, still a chance of some snow, around 20 to 30% chance of some flurries. We will cool down, though, right around 10 degrees, maybe as low as 5. This weather update brought to you by Brady Service Center in Moorhead. Brady Service Center is your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs, and with donuts, breakfast, and lunch items daily, they're also your one-stop shop for all your road trip needs.
Cardinal IG would like to shine the spotlight on their employees celebrating November anniversaries. Peter McCarr, Mustafa Muhammad, and Sean Wenger are all celebrating 5 years. Nathan Poitra, Yam Yak, and Ollie Aiden are all celebrating their first year at Cardinal IG. From the entire team, thank you. Cardinal IG offers competitive pay, outstanding benefits, and an extensive training program. To view open positions or to apply, visit CardinalFargo.com. That's CardinalFargo.com.
Take us with you wherever you go with the Bison 1660 app, powered by Thunder Seed, first in the field. Now, back to the Insiders.
11:50 on the program. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp here with you on a meat sandwich of Overreaction on a Monday. In this hour of the Insiders brought to you by the great team at Rick Electric. Greg Rick and his team are phenomenal. They are the pros, so trust them for all your electrical needs. Don't do it yourself. It's dangerous. It's expensive to fix as well because you're probably going to do it wrong. And also Why not just trust the pros? They've been doing it for a long time, a lot longer than you have by searching that YouTube video or something. It's not going to work. Trust me. Trust the pros at Rick Electric. Been doing it for over 56 years, providing excellent electrical services for homes and for businesses as well. Visit them online at rickelectric.com. Give us a little football bed music just quickly as we go through maybe a look at our Jiffy Lube of Fargo scoreboard, as it is the final week of the regular season, and there was a lot of games that have some serious playoff implications in the FCS from this last week. Take a look at a few of them here. Let's start off in the Big Sky. Last week in the Big Sky, teams that need to get wins, how about these ones? Sacramento State gets a win against Portland State. They stay undefeated, 45-17. Probably going to finish the season undefeated. Montana beats Eastern Washington. Boy, are the Eagles bad right now. A 63-7. The Grizz all over Eastern Washington. Weber State beats Idaho State 45-7. Weber State now 8-2. Montana State beat Cal Poly 72-28. So a lot of points being scored in the Big Sky this last week. 72 by Montana State. Weber State with 45, 63 from Montana, 45 from Sac State. But the game that has the biggest implications on the playoffs played in Moscow, Idaho. The Idaho Vandals lose to UC Davis 44-26. Idaho with that loss drops to 6-4. UC Davis, by the way, gets up to 6-4. UC Davis faces Sac State this week. UC Davis wins that game, they are in. You beat an undefeated team that's maybe the top team in the country, you are in the playoffs if you get to 7-4 with that one. Idaho faces Idaho State this week. If they beat Idaho State, I don't think the Vandals get in. 7-4, they'd be 6-2 in the Big Sky, but if they were to get in, let's just play out the scenario. If UC Davis wins, the scenario where UC Davis beats Sac State. Sac State's still in. Only one loss, they're clearly still in. Weber State's going to be in. Already got 8 wins. 9 wins already from Montana State. So those 3 are in. If UC Davis beats Sac State, UC Davis would be 7-4 with a win against Sac State. Have to be in. There is 4. Are you going to put 5 in from the Big Sky? Maybe. If Montana were to beat Montana State next week as well in the Brawl of the Wild, which, by the way, College Game Day's going to the Brawl of the Wild. Love to see that. That game deserves it. Then Montana's definitely in as well. If Montana beats Montana State. There's 5. There's no way you get 6 teams in from the Big Sky. It's just not going to happen. So even if they get to 7-4, I think Idaho would be left out.
How many teams are ranked in that top 25, though, for the Big Sky? The committee has been big, or at least the polls have been big on the Big Sky so far this season.
They have been, but 6 teams from the Big Sky? That seems like a lot. So Idaho, I mean, that's a massive loss for them. If they were 7-3 right now going into this game with a chance to beat Idaho State because Idaho State sucks and you're going to get to 8-3, they're clearly in. But now your best possible record is 7-4, and their wins, they have narrow losses against 2 Power 5 teams. So you can't really knock them for that, losing to Washington State and Indiana. But these are their wins. Drake, Northern Arizona, Northern Colorado, Montana, quality win, but Montana's not a top 10 team. It's a quality win. Portland State, Eastern Washington. If they were to beat Idaho State, they'd have a win against Idaho State. Your best wins, Montana? I don't think that's enough to get you in at 7-4. I just don't. There's other teams. There's going to be a bunch of teams with 7-4 from the CAA as well.
Yeah, not if
UC
Davis picks up this win.
Now, if UC Davis loses to Sac State, they're not going to get in. They only have 6 wins. They wouldn't get in. And Sac State, you'd still have to get 5 in if Montana wins. No, the other thing is if Montana loses to Montana State, I think the Grizz could be out. There's a very real chance Montana does not make the playoffs. Very real chance. Because you look at Montana's schedule. You know, they get the win last week, but they've gotten a couple wins against bad teams these last few weeks. Now they get Montana State in the Brawl of the Wild, and it's in Bozeman. If Montana State beats Montana, that would make the Grizz 7-4. And 4-4 in the Big Sky, by the way. 500 in conference, that usually is not good enough to get you in. Montana's wins would be Northwestern State, USD, Indiana State, Portland State, Idaho State, Cal Poly, Eastern Washington. That's not good enough, right? Right, Rob? That's not good
there's
enough.
nothing on that resume that says,
not a
wow,
playoff team.
quality wins.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. So, and then have losses against Weber State, Sac State, Idaho, and Montana State, the other playoff teams from that conference. So, I think Montana has to win to get in. I really do, because I just don't think their resume isn't good enough. If you don't beat Montana State, you wouldn't have a win against anyone in the playoffs. And it's not a good enough resume. So I think Montana does have to win this week to get in. Now let's shift our focus to the CAA. So that's kind of what happened last week in the Big Sky. Big loss for Idaho. That puts them in kind of a must-win scenario and maybe a little bit of help. Now, do I think UC Davis is going to beat Sac State? No, I don't. So Idaho still kind of controls their own destiny a little bit here, but definitely made their road a little bit tougher with that loss to UC Davis and losing it significantly, too, losing it by multiple scores. In the CAA last week, William & Mary gets a win over Villanova. They are now 6-1 in conference, 9-1 overall, probably going to win the CAA. Elon beats Hampton. Elon's got 8 wins now. They're 8-3. They should be good. You get to 8 wins, and you're 6-2 in conference. No matter what happens this week, Elon should be in. 2 teams from the CAA. 7-2, Delaware lost to 7-2 Richmond. Richmond beats Delaware 21-13, I believe was the final in that one. They scored at the very end. They get the victory in that game over the Blue Hens, makes Richmond 8-2. Richmond's going to get in at 8-2. They should get in. Delaware's now 7-3 and squarely on the bubble. They absolutely need to have a win this week to get in. New Hampshire is now 7-3. They get a walk-off field goal, or a field goal with 4 seconds left, to beat Rhode Island 31-28. So now New Hampshire's at 7-3. Rhode Island's at 6-4. Now this upcoming week in the CAA, here's your schedule. William & Mary and Richmond, that's for the CAA. That's for the auto bid. Both of them are 6-1 in conference. Whoever wins that gets the auto bid and is probably a seeded team. The loser gets in, but they're not going to get a seed, in my opinion. New Hampshire's at Maine. If New Hampshire gets that win, and they should, add a 2-8 Maine, New Hampshire would be 8-3 and 7-1 in conference. Tough to leave New Hampshire out at 8-3 and 7-1 in the CAA. So now you're talking about 3 teams: Richmond, William & Mary, and New Hampshire. Delaware is at 7-3. They face Villanova on the road. Have to win it. If they win it and get to 8-3 with an FBS win against Navy, I think Delaware's going to get in. But it'll be a little dicey. Even at 8-3, which sounds ridiculous for an 8-3 team to be at all dicey. But there's, when Rhode Island faces Albany, they get to 7-4. I don't think it's good enough for Rhode Island. 7-4, 5-3 in the CAA, but they don't really have a couple of marquee wins on their schedule. Rhode Island so far this year, they lost to Delaware, they lost to Pitt, they beat Bryant, Stony Brook, Brown, Elon. Elon's a playoff team, I guess, but they just don't have enough quality wins. So I don't think Rhode Island gets in. But you're talking about William & Mary, New Hampshire, Richmond, Elon, and Delaware there. Those are the 5 teams possibly in the playoff picture, at least for the CAA. And I think Richmond and William & Mary are already in. Elon's already got 8 wins. They're probably already in as well. And they don't play this upcoming week, so they're going to finish 8-3. That gets 3 teams in from the CAA. The question is, do New Hampshire and Delaware get in? If they both win, they're both at 8-3. And New Hampshire would be 7-1 in conference. Delaware would be 5-3 in conference with an FBS win. I think they both could get in. You could get 5 from the CAA, which brings me back to the Big Sky. You're not getting 5 or 6 from the Big Sky then. It's going to be very interesting how those 2 power conferences are really dissected by the committee this week.
With the way everything is shaped up this year, Andy, it's going to be one of these years where there's teams that are wondering, how did we not get in?
There
And that's what's going to happen.
There might be an 8-win team that doesn't get in.
100%.
There might be. Because you also look at the SoCon. Furman's really good. Furman's going to get in. Mercer could get in. Sanford's going to probably get the auto bid. There could be 3 teams from the SoCon as well that get in. So there's going to be some bid stealing. There absolutely will be, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this week. And Matt Larson is on that committee. He said he flies out on Friday, so he will be out there for that one, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they dissect this thing and what goes into the calculus of who is in, who is out, and who is a seeded team for the playoffs this season. Let's look at our Jiffy Lube of Fargo scoreboard. Jiffy Lube of Fargo has proudly served the Fargo-Moorhead community for over 40 years. You never need an appointment at any of their 3 locally owned and operated locations. So make your next stop at Jiffy Lube of Fargo today. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. We'll take a break. By the way, Sam Herder will join us later this week to go over all the bracket, all the projections of what could happen if this team wins or loses, who gets how many teams in. The Valley's a 3-bid league this year, folks. I hate to break it to you, but the Valley is probably only getting 3 teams in. It's a matter of how many of them are seeded. So that will be later on in the week. But later on today, when we take a break and come back, Jeff Wald, Fox 9, talks Vikings win over the Bills, and how excited should you really be getting at this time if you're a supporter of the Purple?
Well, here we are. The cold weather is here, and that means it's time for winter projects with Rick Electric. Hey, it's Chris Hansen. We've had Rick Electric in our home almost a dozen times. And take it from me, it's easy to see why they are the Upper Midwest electrical professionals. Rick Electric's been proudly serving the area since 1964. And if you want to make sure the power stays on this winter, they can install a Generac whole house generator with an automatic transfer switch. Schedule your appointment or get troubleshooting help at rickelectric.com.
Since Nodak Insurance Company started, we've gone from paying by mail to paying online. Your proof of insurance in the glove box has changed to a quick tap to our online app. And as new technologies make farming more efficient, our coverage ensures you're always protected. The way we live and work has changed, but our values, service, and commitment have remained the same. Nodak is constantly evolving to meet your insurance needs and deliver answers where and when you need them most. Nodak Insurance Company. Agents with answers.
I'm Emily. I had my LASIK surgery here at Vance Thompson Vision. Being in the healthcare field, the highest technology is huge for patients. For me, that was the leading choice and why I chose to go with Vance Thompson Vision. Life without glasses in the operating room has been incredible for me. There's no more fogging. There's no more having issues with my glasses sliding down on my face. It's been great for me.
Call 877-522-EYES to schedule a free consultation.
Dirt, rock, whatever you got, let it slide with Super Slide by Horn Plastics. Super Slide is a plastic, non-stick, self-lubricating, and seamless liner that's eliminated haulback in your dump box or trailer. Super Slide is easy to install, available in various grades, widths, and thicknesses. Going on now, you can take advantage of Horn Plastics' year-end install special. Buy one install, get the second free. Save up to $1,000 by booking your install before December 31st. For more information, visit hornplastics.com.
Need holiday cash fast? Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season. Corwin Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it. Bring in your vehicle to any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant offer and walk away with cash on the spot. There has never been a better time to sell your vehicle and get top dollar for it. So let Corwin Auto help stuff your stocking this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskey should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Buckmore. And here's what you need to know.
University of Virginia linebacker Deshaun Perry and wide receivers Lavelle Davis Jr. and Devin Chandler were killed last night in a shooting on campus. Police have detained the suspect, former UVA football player Chris Jones Jr. The school has canceled its basketball game tonight against Northern Iowa. Panthers quarterback Baker Mayfield will start this week against the Ravens, with Sam Darnold checking in as the backup. Carolina's previous QB1 P.J. Walker suffered a high ankle sprain this past week. NFL Network notes the Commanders are not bringing pass rusher Chase Young off injured reserve for tonight's game against the Eagles. Young, who's coming off an ACL tear, is more likely to return next week. Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy is having an MRI done on his ankle today. Early indications are that he strained a muscle behind his ankle, but the team will undergo more tests with him to see what's really going on. I'm Brian Fenley.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders. Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Little Victory Monday for you as NDSU football gets a win over Southern Illinois. The Vikings get a win over the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, I shall add. This is the first time Kirk had ever played at Buffalo in his career. That was like a fun little tidbit from Joe Davis and the broadcast crew from Fox.
In the rain and snow?
Yeah, a little rain and snow as well. Had to come back from 17 points. No problem. Look at the stat sheet. Kirk outplayed Josh Allen. It's okay. We can admit it. Everyone can admit that out there. Kirk should be an MVP candidate. So who's the better MVP candidate, Kirk or Justin Jefferson?
Kirk now. He's on a winning team.
He is on a winning team. Well, he's been on a winning team for a while. I mean, 8-1 at this point. But definitely, maybe that's the overreaction Monday a little bit. Is Kirk Cousins an MVP candidate? That's the overreaction they should be talking about somewhere on some big national show. We're talking about it here on a local one. Let's jump on over to the Epic Companies hotline, though. Talk a little more about this Vikings win with Jeff Wald of Fox 9 Sports down in the Twin Cities. He was watching that game along with all of us and freaking out at the end of it, I'm sure. How many times, Jeff, did you think the Vikings lost that game yesterday?
I still can't believe they won.
I'm right there with you.
I was pretty much ready to start writing the valiant effort, but they came up short after Kirk Cousins was stuffed on 4th and goal at the 1-inch line. That was, I think we all pretty much thought, okay, well, they put up a really good fight, but they came up short, but that's nothing to hang your head over. They proved that they were a legitimate team, and next thing you know, Josh Allen fumbled at the goal line, and everything changed.
Jeff, good to have you on. Rob Hipp here, man. Thanks for joining us. First question, I got two, but the first one real quick. Are you wearing any celebratory chains this morning?
Unlike Kirk Cousins, I don't think my wife would let me get away with that. I am not wearing any chains, although I did see they switched up their celebration. I'm sure everybody's seen the videos circulating on social media since last night, but as we all saw, Patrick Peterson got to have his turn wearing the chains, and deservedly so. The 12-year veteran in his second season with the Vikings gets 2 interceptions last night, and of course clinches the game with the pick in the end zone. It looked like Josh Allen was trying for Gabe Davis in the end zone, and Pat Pete saw the play happen before his eyes and jumped her out and made the big play.
Well, this team, we're not going to say is this team for real, because we know they're for real now. Coming up with big plays and going up against a team like the Bills, and a victory there was just great to witness. What has been different this season? What have you noticed? I mean, what has made this season so special so far with this team? Because I don't think anybody saw this coming with where they stand right now.
Well, I hate to use the cliche, boring buzzword, but culture really is the difference so far. I mean, it was talked about all offseason when the ownership group hired Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and then he hired Kevin O'Connell to take over the squad. You can truly tell this team is bought in, and they have just run into so many different ways to win that just haven't happened in the past. I saw an interesting stat last night or this morning that last year the Vikings were 6-8 in one-possession games. They had 14 of their 17 games were decided by one possession, and they lost 8 of them. And the interesting part about that is if you can even find a way to switch, 1 or 2 of those around, you're not talking about a new front office, and you're not talking about a new head coach, because the Vikings are in the playoffs last year, and they probably don't part ways with Mike Zimmer. So the fact that they have now won 7 straight games, they've all been within one possession in the fourth quarter, and they've found a way, one way or another to come out on top. That says something about the fact that they've said themselves repeatedly after these games that we don't flinch regardless of the situation. And you saw that last night when Kirk gets stuffed at 4th and goal at the 1-inch line. They didn't give up because they know that in that situation, Josh Allen and the Bills have to find a way to get the ball out of the end zone, and then he goes and botches the snap. I mean, if there is ever a teachable moment for any coach with his team that a game is never over, there it is right there. Because everyone assumes, they're going to, try to get the ball out of the end zone for a yard or two, take a knee, and it's over. And next thing you know, everything changed.
I thought the game was over 3 or 4 times, but able to find wins and able to find a way to keep the game alive. And I think that's something Kevin O'Connell talked about a lot in the post-game press conference was, as long as there's another snap, we got a chance to make a play. And there was another snap even after the 4th down stop on the goal line. There was another chance to make a play. And I said it to my buddies I was watching with. I'm sure they were saying it on the sidelines. Get the safety, get the ball back. You can kick a field goal or something like that. Make a play. And this team has definitely bought into that mentality of there's always a chance as long as you have another snap to play. Jeff Wald again with us from Fox 9 down in the Twin Cities as the Vikings get a win in overtime 33-30 at Buffalo against the Bills. I'll simply put it this way, as someone that knows the history of this team, how bought in should Vikings fans now be, Jeff?
Well, I think they kind of said it themselves a few weeks ago after they beat the Cardinals and they went on to beat the Commanders. It's like they're 7-1. They had won 6 straight, and nobody thinks they're any good because they hadn't beat anybody of any merit. And it's like, well, message sent. I mean, you go to Buffalo, you beat Josh Allen, you beat the Bills, who came into the season, I think, as one, definitely one of the Super Bowl favorites, if not the favorite, with all the talent they have. You go on the road. You get down by 27-10, a 17-point deficit. And another interesting stat that I saw last night, it's been more than 40 years since the Bills have lost a home game when leading at the half by double digits. And this is the group to get it done. And you kind of saw that they just did it by chunk plays and by not panicking yet. Dalvin sets the tone with the 81-yard touchdown run. You get a couple of key stops on defense, and we all know how ridiculous Justin Jefferson is. I still don't know how he made that one-handed catch on the 4th and 18. I mean, that's going to go down as one of the greatest catches in Vikings history, and regardless of the fact that it happened on a 4th down play where if he doesn't make the catch, the game's over because they can take a knee and run out the clock. So, and even better, a couple plays later, Kirk drops the dime to Jefferson again to the 2-yard line, and that might be one of his best passes of the season. So, I mean, the fan in me is bought in. 2 feet in, I mean, that proved to me that you can play with any team in the NFL. Even if they would have lost that game yesterday, I would have said, you know what, they're still for real. They gave Buffalo everything they wanted, but then they get a couple of those key late breaks. They get the field goal in overtime to take the lead. Pete makes the big pick. It just seems like every week somebody manages to step up and make a play in a big moment. That's what you need if you want to win a title.
Yeah, they're definitely making a lot of plays, and Patrick Peterson's making a bunch of them. He's been a great cornerback in his whole career. Probably, borderline Hall of Famer, right? Maybe going to be probably not going to be a first ballot guy, but someone that gets in. I don't remember him being this great last year, but this year he's making a ton of plays. Seemed to not necessarily reinvent himself, but gotten a little bit of an extra wind. Have you kind of felt that at all, being around Patrick Peterson a little bit and getting to see this up close?
100%. I think it's been a little bit of a build-up. I think he maybe wasn't quite as noticed at the start of the season, other than his obvious leadership, as a veteran on the team with guys like Cam Dantzler, guys like Caleb Evans. He's paired with Harrison Smith in that defensive backfield, and that veteran presence is crucial. I think it kind of came to a head after the Arizona Cardinals came to town, a team that he spent his first 10 seasons with, like you said. He's a borderline Hall of Famer right now, and I think if the Vikings can find a way to get him a ring, that answers that question in and of itself. But he was juiced up for that game as much as anybody I've ever seen, and he had words for that sideline the entire game. Every time they threw at him and he knocked it away, he'd point at the sideline and he'd say, "That's 1, that's 2, just keep trying me." And he had some very interesting words post-game locker room for the Cardinals ownership group that let him walk, saying that he was old, he was washed up. The owner saying that fans had left notes on his chair in his locker room saying that he's too old for the game, it's passed him by. Well, I think we've seen that he's done what it takes to take care of his body and maintain a presence here in the secondary.
Andy's becoming Houdini here on the station. When I first got here, he said Vikings are going to go, well, it was 17-0. Now he says 16-1.
It was always 16-1.
It was always
16-1.
Okay, but he also says Kirk Cousins for MVP, and now I think that there has to be a legitimate chatter about that because the way Josh Allen's been playing at Buffalo just hasn't been great over the last 2 games. I just wanted your thoughts on that. I mean, I think this is a potential legitimate discussion now that Kirk Cousins is in the running.
I mean, it's hard to argue. I mean, the fact is that they have 8 wins, and he's engineered 5 comebacks in those 8 wins. I mean, that's the numbers don't lie. It's what my old friend Justin Gard at KFan says: the truth cannot be controversial. And right now, I think if there's anybody that's rivaling him for that honor right now, it's Justin Jefferson. So I mean, it's a great problem to have when you have 2 guys on the same offense that are battling for such a high honor. And the fact that, I mean, Kirk is just such a polarizing figure, and for the longest time, it was just so hard to figure out why. It's like everybody blames him, as a quarterback, as is probably standard in the NFL, you get blamed if you lose, and then you don't get a ton of the credit if you win because you should have done it. But all he's done is make plays, and when the team needs a drive to either tie a game and force it to overtime or to a game-winning drive, if he gets the protection, he'll pick apart his defense. He's shown it time and time again, and he even took a beating in Washington and the week before that. So I can't argue with it. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I right now I can't argue with it.
Yeah, the question really is, who's the better MVP candidate on the Vikings? Is it Kirk or is it Jefferson at this point with the plays Jefferson's been making and the stats he has been putting up? Again, Jeff Wald with us of Fox 9 down in the cities after the Vikings get a nice overtime victory against the Buffalo Bills, and I think cement their place a little bit as a legitimate team, not just a team that's gotten lucky or beaten some other teams that are bad. They're a legitimate team now for a chance to go and play for the NFC title, maybe even play for a Super Bowl. Jeff, thanks for joining us. Always appreciate the conversations with you. I did want to ask you one more question, at least about the Vikings here. Next game here is against the Cowboys. Does this feel at all for you like the NFC title game a couple of years back in the playoffs after you get the Minneapolis Miracle and you're on this high and you're riding this thing so crazy that you just got to win at home, and then you go out to Philadelphia and get absolutely smacked around in the NFC title game? Any of that feeling around this team, or do you think they're going to be able to shift focus quickly and refocus after an emotional victory to Dallas?
Well, that's the key question, and I'm sure that'll actually come up this afternoon here when we get a virtual meeting with Kevin O'Connell here in a couple hours. I personally don't see that type of hangover happening, not with the stretch you have coming up. You have 3 straight home games starting with the Cowboys this Sunday. I think they've done a pretty good job of celebrating the win in the moment. Have your night to do what you need to do. And then, like you said, Victory Monday is about going in, getting treatment, watching film, saying, okay, here's the good things we did, here's what we need to clean up. And the reality is, yeah, they're 8-1. They've won 7 straight, but they haven't done anything yet. They haven't clinched a division title. They haven't assured themselves a playoff spot. I mean, anything is possible in the NFL. We've seen teams that we think are bad, and they come back and somehow beat teams that are really good. So this is not a situation where they can just say, oh, well, we just beat one of the best teams in the NFL on the road. We've got it made. Cowboys are a good team. They gave the Packers a good run yesterday. I just don't see, with this coaching staff, I don't see a mental letdown. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe they come out and there's a clunker on Sunday, but I just don't see it happening.
Jeff, always appreciate it. Thanks for giving us some time here. I know I texted you a little bit on short notice yesterday, so I appreciate you coming on and giving us a little time today.
No worries. I appreciate you. It's a fun ride. So as a fan base, just enjoy every week as it comes. That's all you can do at this point.
Just sit back and enjoy the ride, because it's definitely been a hectic and crazy one, but one that's been successful for the most part so far. Jeff, appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Yep, Jeff Wald there, Fox 9 down in the Twin Cities, giving us his thoughts, his lowdown on what's happening with the Minnesota Vikings. Today's show brought to you in part by Herd & Horns, Beer, Burgers, Bison at Herd & Horns. Herd & Horns is an NDSU-themed restaurant owned by NDSU alums, and 20-plus 70-inch TVs, so there's always a good view of whatever game you want to watch, with 21 different beers on tap. All ages are welcome as well. Friends or family, Herd & Horns can accommodate you all. Happy hours, Monday through Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m., Friday, 3 to 5 p.m., and $2 off apps with $1 off all drinks for happy hours. Tuesday night is trivia night at 7 p.m., Thursdays are bingo night starting at 7 p.m., plus a large room for special events and a great menu at Herd & Horns. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Plenty more to get to here on an Overreaction Monday. How about Christian Watson's Day and what it means for his future? Talk about that when we come back.
Champions play here. Your home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
Jeremy here at Horsch in Mapleton. Did you know that Horsch manufactures premier planting, seeding, and tillage solutions right here in the FM area? We are proud to be a family-owned business based out of Germany and would love for you to join our team right here in Mapleton. We offer competitive pay, full benefits, and paid family time from Christmas to New Year's. Please visit Horsch.com to view our current openings.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. NDSU football won their third straight game this past Saturday after holding off Southern Illinois 21-18. Linebacker James Kaiser tied a career high with 14 tackles and secured an onside kick with 37 seconds left to help secure the victory. Quarterback Cam Miller and running back Tamarick Williams each rushed for touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Miller completed 6 of 11 passes for 80 yards, and Williams finished with 12 carries for 56 yards. Spencer Wagey had a career-high 10 tackles as the Bison improved to 8-2 overall and 6-1 in Missouri Valley Football Conference play. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. The Bison close out the regular season at home, hosting the North Dakota Fighting Hawks in the Harvest Bowl this Saturday with kickoff scheduled for 2:30 p.m.
Here on Bison 1660, we love delivering the latest Bison news, but we also love our studio home.
Back inside our fantastic studio. You can't beat this one, folks. We love this place.
Now, our home has a new name, the Therrelson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Live shows and the latest coverage of NDSU athletics.
Director of Athletics Matt Larson joining us. Head coach Matt Entz with us in studio.
It's all presented by Therrelson Ethanol, helping North Dakota lead the energy revolution. Join their growing team by visiting TherrelsonEthanol.com.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Truck headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
The place you go for all your Bison news first. You've got the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
Here we go. First and goal from the 3. Miller, handoff to Merrick, and he's got the touchdown. 3 yards, skedaddle in as he leapt forward, flipped over, and the Bison adding some insurance much needed to their policy here in the fourth quarter.
One of our JDP Electric electrifying highlights of the game. When it comes to your electrical needs, you only need one call, and that is to JDP Electric. They're professionals that can follow a strict timeline, and get your project done when it's needed. Call 701-232-1991 today to experience the JDP difference. And a little skedaddle in there. Tamara going to be a key piece moving forward because you don't know the health of Hunter Lipke yet. He could be fine. We don't know. We'll find out probably more from Matt Entz on his game week press conference today at 2 o'clock, which you can hear right here on Bison 1660. But Tamarik's always been someone that's gotten better as the season has gone along these 2 years with the program. Definitely someone I feel like they're going to ride a little bit more here down the stretch.
Yeah, Tamarik's been one of those guys. He was one of the first guys that I really got to know and talk to on the team when I first got here, and just his ties back to Texas. That's why we kind of connected right away. But love his attitude, love his effort, and he's a young man. I always say on the broadcast, talking about just how powerful his legs are, he can break through the initial contact and find 5-6 more yards a carry. He's doing a fantastic job, and we need him to keep getting better, and let's get him the ball more often.
Still like 5 yards a carry, too. I mean, he's getting chunks, which is good. He's a big body. He's fairly fresh compared to some other running backs at this point of the season. So.
You mentioned that he's now the sole big body back with, we don't know how long Hunter Lipke's going to be out, but if it is just Tamarik back there, he's the big body. Yep. There's not really another
You have other fullbacks.
Like
I mean, you can throw a Brozio or a Hofstad in there, but they're not the same. I agree with you.
And then you can sprinkle in the other guys: Kobe, Dom,
Marshall.
TK, Bussy.
TK's looked good too. Obviously, you have Kobe Johnson. I think the other thing you lose if you don't have Hunter is that we talk about the running all the time, the receiving threat that he always was too. That's also a massive thing. We had the wheel route throw to Kobe Johnson. It's kind of fun to see. And Kobe's a really good receiving back, so maybe he takes more of that role on. But you lose that with Hunter Lipke. It's not just him lining up in the backfield. It's him lining up at tight end or fullback or whatever. and the chess piece that he is. Because when he's on the field, the opposing defense doesn't know, okay, is he the running back or is he the fullback? Is he the tight end? What is he? Where is he going? That's the part I think is actually more of a loss if you don't have Hunter Lipke.
Yeah, it's a great point because the versatility he has. I don't know of any other player on our team, not to put down any guys, that has that type of versatility. Now, we've seen Kobe Johnson a few times on some passing plays, as we saw last week, so there's definitely a receiving edge that he has, but as far as that guy that can go out and block and make plays and run and catch, it doesn't get much better than Lipke.
Yeah, he's been doing it all season and throughout his entire career, so that's the bigger portion, I think, of what you could lose if you don't have Hunter Lipke. Again, we'll find out from the head coach, Matt Entz. I would think at least a little bit. He might know something. We'll find out more, hopefully, at his game week press conference coming up at 2 o'clock, brought to you by Bonanza Egg. You can hear that right here on this station. Also, tonight, we do have the Bison Football Radio Show with the head coach, Matt Entz. 6:30 to 8 for the Bison Football Radio Show. Obviously, Coach will be there from 7 to 8, as he usually is. Rob Hipp with you the whole entire time, 6:30 to 8. What can we expect on the Bison Football Radio Show tonight, brought to you by Nodak Insurance?
I just think talking about the importance of this final game, just to get that last victory in the regular season and being in front of your home crowd, the seniors, it's a very special game for them. Even though the playoffs are coming up, it's still a special game for the seniors. So I'll talk about that and just the connection that Coach has with those seniors and all the leaders on the team. I think that's something that's exciting to talk about. And the Harvest Bowl, the history, the rivalry between these two schools, it's still there. Even though we look at SDSU a lot more now, there's still that traditional rivalry with UND that's been there.
Yeah, and UND, you're going to bring in guys from the older generation. I think it's getting bigger, but you're going to bring in guys from the D2 days. That was the rivalry. It was NDSU, UND. They didn't really care about SDSU. They didn't really play SDSU. It was NDSU and UND. You're going to bring in some of those guys, I would think, this week.
And back when they were playing for the nickel.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think we're still hoping, we're holding out that a trophy is brought back in to maybe hotten up the fire of this rivalry here.
Yeah, so it'll be guys, I'm thinking right away. One guy that pops into my head that I became friends with, gotten to know very well, is Kenneth Sampson. Longtime fan, been around this program for the better part of 5 decades now. You talk about a guy who's engaged and connected, he's one of them.
By the way, this hour of The Insider is brought to you by Dakota Bank, online at dakotabank.com. A great company here locally. They've been in the Fargo area for a long, long time, but now they have a location, a permanent location here in Fargo as well, and that's a great new location. One of their top spots here so far, top egg lenders in the Dakotas. Banking, insurance, mortgage, trust, and wealth, all there for you as a full-service banker there at Dakota Bank. Again, online, dakotabank.com. That's DACOTAH bank.com, how you spell Dakota for Dakota Bank. Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, Micah Bindi here with you. Let's take a break. We'll pause. We'll come back. And Dexter Werner, Big Dex, will give us his thoughts. NDSU basketball, not a great start for the men. We'll get Dex's thoughts on that when we come back here on a Monday on The Insiders.
Champions play here.
You're vice president material. You're vice president material.
Bison 1660.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
ProSeed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed? Think ProSeed. ProSeed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
Businesses should know that Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the FM area that is SOC 2 certified. That means Consolidated has tested reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data. That's more important than ever with today's security concerns. Many business insurance companies require SOC certification at data storage facilities. You should work with a local data center that is SOC 2 certified. For scalable, cost-effective data center solutions for your changing business needs, go to consolidated.com/data center.
We all want to be part of a winning team, right?
Hi, this is Marcus with Steamatic, and I am very proud of our team. Industry experts have voted Steamatic the best method of cleaning with our patented steam cleaning process, our 24-hour service, and highly trained technicians. We do it all from carpet cleaning, air duct cleaning, fire and water damage restoration, and remember, Bison fanatics choose Steamatic.
Steamatic, call 232-4707.
About a month ago, we had some unexpected plumbing issues. We called Valley Service Mechanical in a panic and were pleasantly surprised with the professional that came to our rescue. He took the time to explain the issues to us, and you could really tell he enjoyed what he was doing and the pride he had representing Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Been a cloudy day in the FM area, a high that only got into the low 20s. Tonight, still a 30% chance of some snow flurries and mostly cloudy skies. A low right around 10 degrees. On your Tuesday, still mostly cloudy skies, but a high back into the mid to upper 20s. This weather update brought to you by Brady Service Center in Moorhead. Brady Service Center is your one-stop shop for all of your automotive needs, and with donuts, breakfast, and lunch items daily, they're also your one-stop shop for all your road trip needs.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan Rum, the Margarita with Hornitos Tequila, an Old Fashioned with Knob Creek Bourbon, an Aviation with Larios Gin, or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones Tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
Gearing up for another season of Bison football? We've got you covered each and every day on the Insiders on Bison 1660.
Tomorrow on the show, obviously talk with Easton Stick. Tough one for the Chargers last night, losing on Sunday Night Football to the 49ers. We'll get Easton's thoughts on that and where the Chargers stand at this point in the AFC. Conversations with Easton brought to you every week by Men's Hair Company, the only place to go for haircuts, waxing, shaves, beard care, and more. 5 Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo locations to choose from. Go with the home team for your haircuts this football season online, menshairco.com. Also brought to you by Red River Commodities. Sun Butter is the maker of delicious sunflower butters the whole family can enjoy. Sun Butter, free of the top 8 food allergens, including peanuts, tree nuts, soy, and dairy, grown in the tri-state area and produced locally at Red River Commodities in Fargo. Sun Butter, simple ingredients, delicious flavor from Red River Commodities. Also brought to you by The Spirit Shop for our conversations with Easton. The Spirit Shop has you covered for all of your favorites for watching football with a great selection of beer, wine, and spirits at the best prices, plus great weekly specials located off 13th Avenue here in Fargo, just behind Shields Home and Hardware. That's tomorrow on the show, our conversations with Easton Stick. Today on the show, and right now on the show, we go back to the Epic Companies hotline and talk with our good friend Dexter Werner. Big Dex joining us here to go over NDSU men's basketball. Dex, always great to have you on, sir. Appreciate the time. How are you and the family doing right now?
Oh, things are good, man. I'm just worried about Rob over there with that snow. I haven't heard from him in a couple days, and I was trying to tell him about a snowblower. I don't know if he's figured it out yet. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. Hey, you know what, man? So late last night, I found my Home Depot card. I thought I lost it. I found it. I don't like charging stuff, but I put a snowblower on the Home Depot card. So I'm picking up.
There you go.
Yeah, it's coming. So thank you for that. I didn't want to get locked in. We got a lot of broadcasting to do.
What was your thoughts when you woke up this morning and you looked outside the window, right?
First thought was I took a picture. I sent it to Bridget. She replied back, OMG. And then I said, thank goodness I bought a truck that's off the ground and I was able to drive off the snow. I don't have a shovel, so I took a push broom. Dex, you would laugh at this. My neighbors were probably like, what is this guy doing? I took a push broom, and that's how I got snow off my truck and off the driveway this morning.
Hey, there you go. You got to get it done.
Got to improvise.
That guy needs help.
Yeah, you got to be creative. A push broom pushing snow down the driveway. Please get a shovel. Please, somebody get this man a shovel for crying out loud. Is this the most snow you've ever seen in your life?
No, we had a pretty big snowstorm back in February a couple of years ago when the state was below. Y'all would laugh for 3 days.
Yeah, so you're going to get a lot more than this, so I just want to make sure this wasn't the most you've ever seen. Dex, great to have you on with us once again. Please take care of my guy during the winter here. He might need some help. But this NDSU men's basketball team wanted to bring you on to go over the first week of games. Unfortunately, just no wins on the record yet. 0-3, that loss yesterday to Pacific, 91-86. I know the defense can't be where Coach Richmond wants it to be at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think based off of our post-game conversation with Coach Richmond, there's a lot of things that these guys are looking to improve. And on the defensive end, I think the biggest thing that has stood out to me is, with the decent amount of size that they've had, I think they've struggled to rebound the ball, whether that's the positions that some of the guys are putting themselves into and just closing out possessions. I think second chance points have hurt them, especially down the stretch in that close game yesterday. So overall, I think that they see where they got to be, and it's early, a lot of young guys, so I don't think you can expect it 3 games into this season, but you just got to see if they can keep trending in the right direction.
Dex, we've talked a lot about just culture, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but it is true, and there's so many young kids on this team. Also, another word is chemistry. You've been in the game. You played as a Bison. When you got so many young players, I mean, how long does it really take for that to start clicking as far as action on the court goes? We know the guys get along great off the court, but when you're on the court in game-time situations, it's going to take a while. I mean, how long do you expect that to kind of take?
Yeah, Rob, I think that's exactly what the non-conference start of the schedule for the season is. That's to get that stuff figured out. I know I don't like saying it because I and other people like to see teams succeed at any point during the year, but with the Summit League being a one bid league and you got to win the tournament to get out, really, however you want to look at it, your goal is to be ready to play in the Summit League, and obviously you have to win that to go to the tournament. So that's the goal, right? And so with a younger team, I think you're looking at it as this non-conference schedule is for us to figure out what we need to figure out so that we're ready to go in December when the Summit League play starts, because it's a good league, pretty well balanced. I think it's going to be really well balanced again this year, and once conference play starts, you don't have time to spend 2-3 games in conference getting stuff figured out before that team starts to drop in those standings, and you're stuck. It's a tough hole to get out of. So I think you got to be ready by conference for sure.
I think everybody knows by this point, especially with this team over the last handful of years under the direction of Coach Richmond, that they get better as the season goes on. If you want to count them out in November, that's at your own peril, because they're usually going to be pretty good come December, January, and February when you want to be playing your best basketball. A couple of positives to take away from these first couple of games. I know you have 2 high majors, and then you had that game against Pacific, but there's a few players offensively that I've been pretty impressed with. Bowden Skunberg, 17 points against Arkansas, career high for him. And then how about the freshman Sam Hastreiter, 7 for 7 from 3, over 20 points. You know what you're going to get from Grant Nelson and Andrew Morgan most nights. If you can get that kind of production from some perimeter guys, that does bode well for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the shooting is going to be a big kind of determinant for how these games go. And, they're just the team with a makeup where they're going to have to make some threes, because when you have 2 big guys that you like to play side by side, like, it's not like they're swapping Andrew and Grant in for each other. They're playing both of them. So you're playing 2 bigger guys. Obviously, Grant's got the ability to stretch the wing. But in order to give those guys room to do what they do, and that those 2 big men can produce at a high level, they got to have some scoring and shooting on the perimeter. I think that Bowden obviously had some shooting woes last season. We saw it. He went on a pretty long stretch without knocking down some threes, and I think he shot it pretty well to start the year. And obviously, if you look at some of those new guys, that's big for them to have some shooting, and hopefully those guys can continue to come into their own. Sam Hastreiter, like you said, 7 for 7 yesterday, and then even the first 2 games, Lance Waddles and Tajavis Miller, those guys are both shooting the 3 well on top of that. So if you can get a few guys knocking down some threes, it's not like they need a bunch of 15-point guys making 5-6 threes a game, but if you can surround those big guys with some shooting, I think that's really going to open up their offense.
No, Dez is still out injured, and he will make a return before too long as this season continues on at some point. I know that he had limited points per games in his previous 2 seasons, but just what impact does he have? And he does add some depth on this team, so I think it will be important once we get him back as well. Dex, your thoughts on Dez?
Yeah, I would say the most important thing with Dez is that you just get some of that maturity coming into the point guard position. And I think we're starting to see flashes of that with Yoder, but obviously he's still new to the system. He's coming from D3 to D1. It's good that he's got some game time under his belt, but to bring back a guy like Dez, who's been in the system and really understands his role, Dez played limited minutes behind, Sam Griesel and some of those other guys last year. So for him to come back, I wouldn't expect to see Dez be the kind of player who comes in and forces a lot. I really see him as a really strong system point guard, and I think he would understand his role and he would run the offense well, and I think that's what they need. I think if we look at last night's game and then those two big conference games before, really a lot of kind of the turnovers and mistakes and just lack of offense was coming from early turnovers, guys turning the ball over, trying to get into the offense and set things up. You can't have a bunch of turnovers at the point guard position and expect to go score the ball and win games. So I think if they can get some more steadiness at point guard, that's going to be a huge help for them as well.
Yeah, 19 turnovers for NDSU last night against Pacific turned into 21 points off of the turnovers for Pacific in that game, and again the Bison lose it by only 5 points. So it's a big area, a big stat that I'm sure, knowing Coach Richmond, he's probably harping on that a little bit, cannot be given easy points and extra possessions to the opposing team. Dexter Werner here with us this week. A couple more opportunities, right? And that's all they are right now is opportunities to continue to improve and get better. Got a good team against Indiana State. We saw them in the Shack last year. They came here. Now we get to go out to Terre Haute. What do you think that road trip's going to be like?
It's just going to be an opportunity to keep learning and getting comfortable. That was my key to the game yesterday is I think these guys really do just need to keep getting comfortable, and I think you're seeing flashes of it from these young guys. And, I probably sound like a broken record saying it, but the one thing this team can't buy is time. And it's going to take a little bit of time for these guys to get used to each other, like Rob said. And, they're going to go on the road to what I think is a pretty good / tough mid-major environment. Indiana State's a good program. They've had some recent successes. So I would look for them to be a tough game, and hopefully some guys can step up. And, I think everybody's getting hungry for that win. So we'll see if they can get one on the road.
Going to be fun to watch and see if they can get that thing done on Thursday. Dex, always appreciate the time. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time here today. Hope the family's doing well. Hope that man-to-man defense is going well with a couple of kiddos now at home, and we'll talk to you again down the road.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
Here we go. Dexter Werner, nice enough to give us some time on the Epic Companies hotline. Got to stop turning the ball over and play better defense. I'm sure that's what Coach Richmond's going to be talking about here this week, because not used to giving up over 90 points. That's not something this team does, this program does. They're usually very sound defensively. So young players still learning that defensive system. They'll get that thing dialed in, but I'm sure that's going to be an area of emphasis along with the turnovers this week.
Yeah, and Coach has talked about, too, Andy, he doesn't want to get stuck in the trap of moral victories. Go out and play the game, limit the turnovers, play ball. There are a lot of young people on this team, a lot of young guys. The capability is there for this team, and as Dex just said, man, you can't. That's the one thing. You can't buy time. Just give it time. This program's going to come together, and they'll find a way to start clicking by the time conference play gets around.
Sure will. Again, Bison next chance for the Bison men's basketball program on the road against Indiana State on Thursday night. You can listen to that game over on 107.9 The Fox. The Bison women's game against the Golden Gophers, which is a massive game as well, on Thursday will be on Bison 1660. Today's show brought to you in part by Nodak Insurance Company. You might be paying too much for your car insurance. You can have both a great rate and great service from Nodak Insurance Company. Find an agent near you at NodakINS.com. Nodak Insurance Company, the agents with answers, and they are the corporate game week sponsor of all of our coverage of NDSU and UND this week in the regular season finale and in the Harvest Bowl. Does that mean wheat helmets? The wheat on the helmets for this week, you think?
Maybe we'll see all green. Maybe it'll be a code green for this
green
week.
I like that.
I like the all green look, green helmets, green tops,
green helmets
green
that have like wheat on the middle of it, kind of striping. Looks like wheat, basically. It's awesome.
I'm just wondering who's going to bring like free loaves of bread, homemade bread, wheat, bread.
Are.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you signed up for that.
I did.
Yeah, you're bringing the bread this week. You kind of walked right into that one. Had to do it to you.
I'll bring the food bread. The other type of bread that you use to buy things, I can't. I don't have that kind of bread.
Don't have that kind of stuff.
Not that kind of wheat, man.
We'll take a break. We'll come back, finish up this show here for you. A couple of segments left on an Overreaction Monday.
Always having a good time, but never letting it get out of hand.
I approach you from the front and kind of like, wow, this dude's pretty serious. Then I walk away and you're like, he likes to party with 2 R's.
You've got the insiders on Bison 1660.
What better way to celebrate National Pickle Day than with free fried pickles? Valid with a $20 purchase all day on November 14th at participating locations. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about our 29-degree man-sized drafts. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Your brilliant proposal starts with Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, your source for mined and certified lab-grown diamonds. Looking to create a custom engagement ring? Our team of jewelry experts will help you create that perfect ring, mesmerizing her, creating an heirloom to be cherished for a lifetime. Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, 3241 42nd Street South, Fargo. Online at schmidtsjewelry.com.
You won't find better people and a better place to work than Trail King. Meet the people that make Trail King great.
I've been welding for 10 years, and I like Trail King because they have a good work environment.
I've been here 7 years as a welder. I have a family at home, and the benefits here are great. And I like that I'm saving for my retirement weekly.
Now hiring for production. Full-time hire receives 401k, benefits, a $3,000 sign-on bonus with starting pay $18 an hour up to $24. Apply now at trailking.com. Join Trail King and build something to be proud of.
A commercial roof provides protection from the elements like snow, wind, and rain for contents and occupants of the business inside. Protect your business with a roof from All-Star Construction. All-Star Construction is the area's most referred and trusted contractor when it comes to commercial maintenance and roofing repairs. They're a business owner's best friend. Get on the schedule now before winter hits. Call or visit them online at allstarfargo.com. All-Star Construction, your roofing experts for over 40 years.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come be a part of the JDP difference.
Whether it's the FCS, NFL, or productivity at work, we have you covered.
That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
It's the Insiders on Bison 1660.
Baker stands in the gun, back to his right, looking to pass, drops back 4 steps at the 24, throws over left side, this one up, bobbled, intercepted here by the Bison. It is Dawson Weber, and Weber has it around the 45-yard line. How about that, the first interception?
First interception of the season for Dawson Weber. How about this? 4 interceptions against Western Illinois. All 4 of those were the first interception of the season for those players, and then 1 interception against Southern Illinois, and that's the first interception of the season for one Dawson Weber. Kind of a cool little nugget there for you.
How about this? How about that?
How about this? How about that? Yes, indeed. That's one of our JDP Electric electrifying highlights of the Bison's win over Southern Illinois. It was brought to you by JDP Electric. When it comes to your electrical needs, you only need one call, and that is to JDP Electric. They're professionals that can follow a strict timeline and get your project done when it's needed. Call 701-232-1991 today to experience the JDP difference. A little football bed music one more time for you. One more check of our Jiffy Lube before I go scoreboard. This time let's go, though, to the NFL ranks for the Jiffy Lube before I go scoreboard. NFL scores from yesterday. Obviously, one game left tonight with the Eagles and the Commanders. But some key games, I thought, here as you reach past the midway point, really, of the NFL season here now. The 49ers beat the Chargers 22-16. Niners getting on a little bit of a roll. Chargers sputtering just a bit, but still in contention, still in the hunt for a playoff spot, but something that's where the Chargers always are. Just always right in the hunt for a playoff spot, but never really taking control of it.
The Chargers are the Vikings just without the good play at the end of a game. So they're not winning these close matchups, but the Vikings are.
People think the Chargers are better than the Vikings. Because of Justin Herbert.
It's just because of Herbert.
It's because of Herbert.
He's not Kirko.
He's not Kirko. Definitely not. The Colts, I sat here and said that Jeff Saturday was the greatest coach ever. You guys all doubted him. Jeff Saturday gets his first win. The winningest coach in Indianapolis Colts history via winning percentage. Winningest coach in Colts history. Undefeated. 1-0 as the Colts go into Vegas and get a win on the road against the Vegas Raiders 25-20.
He beat the Raiders.
With Matt Ryan at starting quarterback, by the way. Ryan back as a starter.
Do you remember when you said that the Raiders were the most talented team in the AFC West?
I do. I do remember saying that.
Would you,
No, wait. I said the Broncos were the most talented team.
No, you said the Raiders. After they got Devontae, and then they got, who's that second passer?
I definitely said that the Chiefs were not the most talented. I was all about that.
Yeah, you were down on the Chiefs.
I wasn't down on the Chiefs. I just said that they're the most talented roster. I was not saying they weren't going to win the division like everybody else, and I still would stand by that. They don't have the most talented roster.
I distinctly.
They have the best quarterback and the best head coach.
You were high on the Raiders, and I was like, they got Derek Carr, and he's not that good.
Yeah.
I was high on the Raiders. I like Derek Carr. I think I talked about it early on when I first got here. And then he's just been a bomb.
Derek Carr or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson's
Russell
worse.
Wilson, right away.
I would agree. That's weird.
Russell Wilson's worse than Derek Carr.
Also, I think Derek Carr could get traded in the offseason. The Raiders have a super high pick. They probably draft a quarterback and then say, see what we can get for Derek Carr.
See what he does, man.
They aren't even using Devontae Adams correctly on offense. They don't even target him enough. Throw it to him.
Every once in a while they do.
15 times a game.
Yeah, it's weird. Not working out there. Josh McDaniels does not know what he's doing. He's not a good head coach. Wasn't good before, not good this time. The Rams lost again. The Rams season might be done. Super Bowl hangover big time. They lost 27-17 to the Cardinals. Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray did not play in that game. Kenny Pickett gets a win. The Steelers win 20-10 over the Saints. And also the Green Bay Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys 31-28 in overtime. Ends a 5-game losing streak for the Packers. And again, in that game, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns for Mr. Christian Watson in that game. Congratulations to Christian. That's got to go a long way for his confidence and for Aaron Rodgers' confidence in Christian Watson. That's going to be awesome for him. Looking forward to big things. A lot of Packers fans texting me, friends of mine, they're like, okay, maybe this Watson guy's got something. I said, see, I told you. Just be patient with them. Be patient. Give the young guy a chance. And happy they have. And now all of a sudden, 3 touchdowns. Definitely a big game for him. Let's look at our Jiffy Lube of Fargo scoreboard. Jiffy Lube of Fargo has proudly served the Fargo-Moorhead community for over 40 years. You never need an appointment at any of their 3 locally owned and operated locations, so make your next stop at Jiffy Lube of Fargo today. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Last break for us. Come back and wrap up the show when we come back.
You're home for the Thundering Herd.
Hey, you got any left-handed football?
Bison 1660.
Dakota Bank is one of the largest ag banks by volume in the United States, and certainly the top ag lender in the Dakotas. For decades, Dakota Bank has worked with ag producers just like you who are committed to the producers and families that make our communities great. I'm Judd Graham, Market President of our new Fargo, North Dakota location, and my team is here for you. Go with commitment, experience, and integrity. Dakota Bank, banking, insurance, mortgage, and trust.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. Trust and insurance are not FDIC insured.
Cardinal IG would like to shine the spotlight on their employees celebrating November anniversaries. Peter McCarr, Mustafa Muhammad, and Sean Wenger are all celebrating 5 years. Nathan Poitra, Yam Yak, and Ollie Aiden are all celebrating their first year at Cardinal IG. From the entire team, thank you. Cardinal IG offers competitive pay, outstanding benefits, and an extensive training program. To view open positions or to apply, visit CardinalFargo.com. That's CardinalFargo.com.
Hi, this is Cody Mout. After a long week of practice and a W on Saturday, I like to slide into Hurt & Horns to see my friends, family, and teammates. Join your friends and family at Hurt & Horns for all NDSU home and away games this season. Stop in on Sundays to watch your favorite former players and my teammates play in the NFL too. Hurt & Horns is conveniently located on 12th Avenue North across from the NDSU campus. Your number one destination for burgers, beer, and Bison is Hurt & Horns. Go Bison.
Code Green is coming alive! Bison football returns home for the regular season finale versus the North Dakota Fighting Hawks in the Harvest Bowl. Our coverage starts at 8:30 a.m. with kickoff scheduled for 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Coverage of UND versus NDSU is brought to you by Nodak Insurance Company. Safe drivers can save up to 30% on their premium when they enroll in the new Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. Download the Nodak Insurance app to enroll and start saving today. Visit NodakINS.com. Nodak Insurance Company. Agents with answers.
Need holiday cash?
Fast? Corwin Auto will put a little extra jingle in your pocket this holiday season. Corwin Auto wants to buy your used vehicle and will offer more money than ever to buy it. Bring in your vehicle to any Corwin location and have it appraised. Get an instant offer and walk away with cash on the spot. There has never been a better time to sell your vehicle and get top dollar for it. So let Corwin Auto help stuff your stocking this season. Stop by any of the 4 Corwin Auto locations today.
We're with Chris Hoffman from Bonanza Agronomy. Chris, today's farmer does more than just grow crops.
Farmers also have to make payroll. Farmers also have to market crop. Farmers also have to run equipment. And oh yeah, they have families too. The farmer has to wear many hats. So if he can take part of his operation and relinquish some control, remove the emotion from it, partner with an expert like Bonanza Agronomy, and let's put a plan together with somebody that's already been through this.
Find them on Facebook and bonanzaag.com.
You hear that? The herd is headed your way. You're hearing from the insiders right here on Bison 1660.
Wrapping things up here for you on a Meat Sandwich Monday of Overreaction. We were moving and grooving today. 3 different guests, packed show. If you missed any part of it, you can podcast the show. Go to our website, bison1660.com. All the podcasts are there for you on our shows page, or you can just go and listen for the podcast. Just search Bison 1660 Insiders on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts at. We got them for you, right there for you. Appreciate all of our fans listening. Numbers have been great on all the podcasts, so appreciate you guys listening to the show or listening back to it if you don't catch it during the day. Andy, Rob, and Micah with you, by the way. All 3 of us tomorrow, too. So 2 straight days of doing the show for Rob. He's not used to this.
No, man. Nope. The seat was warm when I sat down. Thank goodness.
Kyle Emanuel kept it warm
He kept it nice and cozy for me.
By the way, state champion Kyle Emanuel. Congratulations to him and the Shanley Deacons on a state title, beating Bismarck Century in the title game, and all of the state championship teams as well that won during the Dakota Bowl last weekend. But props to our guy. Another ring for Kyle Emanuel, I guess.
Huge weekend for the Midwest, North Dakota. The Bison win in football. The Vikings win. And then the Dakota Bowl on Friday. It was a great weekend.
It really was. Good weekend. By the way, this hour of The Insider is brought to you by Dakota Bank online at dakotabank.com. Full-service banking at Dakota Bank with not just ag lending and being the top agricultural lenders in the area, but also mortgage, insurance, banking, personal banking, and trust and wealth at Dakota Bank. Judd Graham and his crew have opened up a new location here in Fargo, but not new to the area. They've been part of this company or part of this community for a long, long time from Dakota Bank. And our sponsors this hour on a Monday is Dakota Bank online, dakotabank.com. That will do it for the show. Again, 2 o'clock, press conference. Matt Entz, Game Week press conference brought to you by Bonanza Egg right here on the station. So make sure you're listening to that. And then also at 6:30 tonight, right here on Bison 1660, it's the Bison Football Radio Show with the head coach Matt Entz from 7 to 8, but starts at 6:30 with Rob Hipp. Make sure you're listening to that. A lot of updates, I'm sure, for this upcoming week with NDSU and that school up the road. Harvest Bowl as well. And NDSU women's basketball tonight. Get to the Shack, pack the Shack, support this women's basketball team as they have their home opener against Valley City State. That game starts at 7 o'clock tonight, 6:30 pregame. Listen to that on 94.5 FM The City. 94.5 FM The City for NDSU women's basketball. Back with you again tomorrow, Missouri Valley Mix and Easton Stick tomorrow on The Insiders. Dakota Refrigeration has been helping the Bison succeed behind the scenes. From their training room to their dining room, from milk to medicine, from ice to ice cream, Dakota Refrigeration has been serving Minnesota, Montana, and the Dakotas for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, Dakota Refrigeration is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical needs. Dakota Refrigeration, located in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale